You've eaten them hundreds of times. You call them French fries. You dip them in ketchup. You order them supersized. You fight your friends over the last one at the bottom of the bag. But here's what nobody tells you. The French didn't invent them. And the name French fries? That might be one of the biggest culinary lies America ever swallowed. And what do tiny river fish have to do with any of this? Stay with me, because the answer is going to mess with your head. Let's go back, way back, to a small freezing river valley in what is now Belgium. It's the 1600s. The people here, the Walloons in the Meuse River region, have a tradition. Every winter they catch tiny fish from the river, slice them up, and fry them in hot oil. That's their protein. That's their survival. But then, the river freezes over, completely. The fish are gone, and people are hungry. So they did something genius. They grabbed potatoes, sliced them into long, thin strips, the same shape as the fish they used to fry, and threw them in that same hot oil. French fries were literally invented as a fish substitute. Let that sink in. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because for centuries, literally centuries, France and Belgium have been fighting over who invented the fry. The French will tell you, we perfected the technique, we popularized it, this is our contribution to world cuisine. The Belgians will tell you, we invented it first, and you just took the credit. But here's the thing that both sides tend to gloss over. The historical record, actual written documents from the 1600s and 1700s, points overwhelmingly to the Meuse Valley in what is now Belgium. A Spanish manuscript from around 1680 discovered in a Belgian family archive literally describes potatoes being fried in oil in that exact region. Meanwhile, the earliest French records of fried potatoes show up over a century later. Paris street vendors were selling them in the late 1700s, but by then the fry was already an old idea. So the expectation was, French fries come from France. The reality? The French showed up late to their own party. And that's where this story gets truly bizarre. Enter Thomas Jefferson, third president of the United States, founding father, and possibly the man responsible for the biggest food naming mistake in American history. In the 1780s, Jefferson served as the American minister to France. He spent 5 years in Paris, and while he was there, he fell absolutely in love with French cuisine. He brought back recipes, techniques, ingredients, including a recipe in his own handwriting for potatoes served in the French manner. Fried, thin, crispy. Now, and this is the key detail, in the French manner didn't mean invented in France. It meant prepared using a French cooking style or encountered while in France. It was a description of technique and place of encounter, not a certificate of origin. But language doesn't care about nuance. Over decades, potatoes in the French manner became French fried potatoes, and French fried potatoes became French fries. And suddenly, the name stuck, permanently, internationally, irreversibly. Belgium invented it, France popularized it, sort of, and America named it, after the wrong country, accidentally, and then exported that wrong name to the entire planet. Here's the shocking part, though, and I mean actually shocking. Even after knowing this, Belgium still couldn't get the credit it deserved. And the reason? It took until 2014 for Belgium to file an official request with UNESCO to recognize the Belgian fry as part of their cultural heritage. A country had to formally petition the United Nations just to be recognized for their own food. Think about that. Okay, so now you know the fish story. You know about Jefferson. You know Belgium got robbed. But I haven't told you the weirdest part yet. Because there's one more twist to this story, and it involves World War I, American soldiers, and a massive, catastrophic misunderstanding that happened in the trenches of Europe. And this misunderstanding didn't just affect what we call fries. It may have actually saved Belgian fry culture from disappearing entirely. It's 1917. American troops are flooding into Europe. They land in France, they march through Belgium, they fight alongside local soldiers. And everywhere they go, in the villages, from street vendors at field kitchens, they are handed these incredible fried potato strips. Now, Critical context. The official language of the Belgian army at the time in that region was French. The soldiers speaking to the Americans were speaking French. The menus, the labels, the signs, all in French. The Americans had no idea they were in a historically Walloon, Belgian-French cultural zone. They heard French, they saw French, they tasted something extraordinary. And they went home calling it French. Full stop. But here's what nobody talks about. Those soldiers going home and raving about French fries to their families, to their neighbors, to diners and restaurants across America, created an explosion of demand. American restaurants started serving them everywhere. The industrial fry era began. And ironically, that accidental wrong name, spread by American soldiers who didn't know what country they were actually eating in, is what put fried potatoes on the global map. McDonald's, Burger King, every fast food chain that followed, they all built their empires on a dish named after the wrong country, invented as a fish replacement by people trying not to starve in winter. So next time someone asks you, why do you call them French fries? You can tell them the actual story. It starts with frozen rivers and tiny fish. It passes through a founding father's notebook. It survives a world war. And it ends in every paper bag and every drive-through window in America. The French didn't invent them, the Americans didn't name them correctly, and the Belgians, the people who actually came up with the idea, spent 300 years watching the world get it wrong. History is wild. All right, you now know the true story of French fries. But I have to ask you something, and this is going to bother you until you watch my next video. You know strawberries, right? Classic American fruit, red, sweet, on every grocery shelf in the country. You probably had them this week. What if I told you that the strawberry you eat today, the one in every supermarket, every smoothie, every shortcake, literally does not exist in nature? That it was created by accident, in a French military garden, by a spy who was smuggling plants for the King of France? I'll see you there.